Hello, it's April from April's Home, and today I thought I would share with you a fun recipe for a delicious hot tuna sandwich here. This is a recipe that was passed down to me from my great-grandma. We called her Nana, and this was a recipe that I grew up eating and we all absolutely loved. So you'll need one standard size can of tuna here. This one is 7 ounces. I've chosen the variety packed in water. You'll need 4 eggs, and we're going to hard boil and peel these. And you'll need relish, pickle relish. I'm going to put in dill and sweet relish, but you could just add in sweet pickle relish if you do not prefer dill. And then also you'll need cheese. We'll need a cup of grated cheese. You'll need a couple of tablespoons of Miracle Whip or mayonnaise. I don't have any Miracle Whip on hand. As a child, we made this with Miracle Whip. But today I'm just going to go ahead and use my mayonnaise. You'll need some hamburger buns here, just standard size hamburger buns, and you will need foil because these are baked hot sandwich. When we're done assembling these, we will wrap them in foil and bake them in the oven. So before we get started with the recipe, I'm going to take these eggs that my chickens have laid. You can see one of my chicken lays sort of a green bluish colored egg. And I'm going to go ahead and cover these with water and hard boil these. I'll go ahead and peel them and come back to show you how we assemble these sandwiches. Okay, I'm back. My eggs are all hard boiled and peeled here. And also my husband happened to be on his way home right in the middle of this. I was talking to him and mentioning that I didn't have Miracle Whip, so he ran in a store and grab me a bottle. So I'll be able to make this recipe the way that it was made for me when I was a kid. So I'm going to go ahead now and get out my egg chopper here. Got a little one of these here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and get my eggs all chopped up here. We'll turn it one way and then the other. If you don't have one of these egg choppers, you can just chop these up with a fork or just cut them up with a knife. But this one's pretty handy. Okay, egg number 2. Egg number 3. And egg number 4. So now I'm going to go ahead and drain my can of tuna and add it to the eggs here. Okay, so we'll add our drained can of tuna here. I'm going to go ahead and get a fork here. And now I'm going to go ahead and add my 2 tablespoons of relish. I love relish, so I'm definitely going to add some of each dill and sweet relish. You can, of course, not add any relish if you're not a fan of relish, or you can use sweet or dill only. So there's some of our dill relish, a tablespoon of that, and a tablespoon of sweet relish. And at the end, if it looks like you need a little bit more, you can add a little bit more to taste. And now we'll go ahead and add our 2 tablespoons of Miracle Whip. And of course, you could just eye this. Again, it's just about getting everything to be moistened and combined. If you need to add a little bit more, you can. I might add just a squeeze more here. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a stir to just start incorporating this before I add my cheese. Break up the tuna and get everything nicely combined. The nice thing about this recipe is it's sort of a change from just your standard tuna sandwich or grilled tuna sandwich or your egg salad sandwich. It's a nice mix of the two, sort of like a tuna melt and an egg salad sandwich combined. So, sounds a little bit strange if you haven't had it, but when I was a kid, I loved these. So it's all mixed together here, and I'm going to go ahead and add some cheese. And I also think I'll add a little bit more of the sweet pickle relish, because when I look in there, I don't see too much of the relish there. Just another little squeeze of that. And then some shredded cheddar cheese, 1 cup. We'll go ahead and mix that together. You really want to make sure to incorporate all that cheese so it's evenly distributed throughout this recipe. Okay, so now we have our little mixture here, our sandwich mixture. I'm going to go ahead and set this aside and get out a plate to start assembling the sandwiches. Okay, so we have our hamburger bun here. I'm going to take a couple of scoops of the mixture, pile it on the bun, just like so, and then put the top bun on. And now we're going to wrap this in foil. So I'm going to get out a square and just go ahead and wrap my sandwich in this. I like to completely seal it in here just like so. So then we'll make a whole stack of these. I'll start with my next bun here and make another one. Not quite sure how much this mixture will make. I bought 8 buns. I might be filling it more than my mother used to. I'm pretty sure she was able to get this recipe to stretch pretty far. Also, this recipe would be very easy to double if you're making this for a crowd of people. So now we'll wrap our second sandwich. Just like so, and that'll be ready to go in the oven here in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead now and get the rest of these sandwiches made. I'll go ahead and let you know how many I was able to make with this one batch here, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so I've got all of my sandwiches made. I was able to make 6 sandwiches out of that. Now, I really packed these pretty full. You could probably get 8 sandwiches out of this if you just filled it a little bit less, especially if you're making these for children. They might like it a little less filling so it won't be so messy. But because these are for my husband and I thought it would be nice just really fill them nicely and make a delicious lunch sandwich here for us. The other nice thing about these is that you can pre-make these. My mom used to make up a batch just like this, and then she would store them in the refrigerator for a couple of days worth of lunches, and then you would just take out the ones you wanted to make and preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm going to go ahead and bake up 2 of these. You could just pop these in the oven, or you can set them on a tray if you're making a bunch of them, and you will bake these at 400 degrees for 20 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and let my oven preheat a little bit. And so now I'm going to go ahead and put 4 of these into the refrigerator for later on in the week and make 2 right now. Again, I'm going to bake these in a preheated 400 degree oven for 20 minutes. So I'll be back when these are done baking and show you how they turned out. So it's been 20 minutes and I've taken these hot tuna cheese buns out of the oven. Let's go ahead and unwrap it and see how it looks, and then I'll get it plated up for lunch. You can see the sandwich is nice and melty there. The cheese has melted nicely and the bun is nice and hot and a little bit crisp. So now I'm going to go ahead and get these plated up for lunch, and I'll let you know how they taste. So I've served up my baked tuna cheese bun with some mandarin orange slices as well as some cheddar sun crisps. And I've unwrapped my sandwich here. I'm going to go ahead and take it out of the foil. Here's what it looks like. You can see that a little bit up close. Now I'm going to go ahead and try a bite. The cheese is looking yummy and melted, and I'm really excited to try this flavor. I haven't had these in quite some time. And again, as a child, I really loved these. And yum, that is definitely the flavor I remembered. Very yummy, unique flavored hot sandwich here. So I'm really excited to have my lunch here today and make up a plate for my husband's lunch as well. This is absolutely a wonderful old-fashioned lunch. My great-grandma used to make this up for a crowd of people because you can make these up in advance and keep them in the fridge and bake them when you're ready to bake them. Also, because it uses up 4 eggs in this recipe, it's a great way if you have chickens that are laying a bunch of eggs and you need a new recipe and a new way to use those up. Something that's a little bit different than your classic egg salad sandwich. So that is the recipe for my Nana's tuna cheese buns, a hot baked tuna cheese bun. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at this old-fashioned recipe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.